pretty much on the horizon of one of the another great fight that I want to see, with real, genuine trash talk and bad blood between George Groves and Chris Eubanks Jr. This your boy CJ Goodfella back with the Boxing Clinic. And, you know, the trash talk has been, been trill, Then you throw James DeGale in there, which George Groves already defeated, but I thought DeGale won clearly. Probably in the minority there. I watched that fight a few times, and I don't see how they gave it to George Groves. But, Groves saying that Avina Uterman actually broke his bridge of his mouth, I believe, when they were sparring, and that he might be a tough opponent for Chris Eubanks Jr. Eubanks Jr. destroyed him. When he broke the bridge of the Gale's mouth of his teeth, then Badou Jack knocked his teeth out in their fight, and that's what he said led to it. And he had a shoulder injury, he hadn't been 100%. And both of them guys, Groves and DeGale, have been taking shots at Chris Eubanks Jr. And he passed the first test, and then DeGale predicted that he would pull out the World Boxing Super Series tournament before the George Groves fight. And yes, I will be getting to the George Groves Jamie Cox prediction, and it's gonna be a good one. It's probably the best prediction video I did in a minute. Got to break down the film some more. I've been breaking it down, being thorough. I think this is a hell of a fight. Jamie Cox has, he's defied the odds of being in trouble, going to jail, moving up several weight classes. I really like what he brings to the table. I'm gonna do a video about him in a minute. But George Groves and Chris Eubanks Jr. have been going back and forth. Groves have been talking shit about Eubanks, and the way this tournament is set up, they are set up to make it the fight in the semifinals, which will be the next round, if Groves can get past Jamie Cox. And we know one of George Groves' downfalls is that he's overconfident. He overlooks opponents, I think, and gets his ass whooped. I picked Fedorov Chuvinov for that simple reason. I think he fractured his jaw. Chuvinov fractured George Groves' jaw. George Groves, it was his last crack at a world title. If he didn't win that fight, he wasn't going to be in this tournament. Fedor Chuvinov would have been in this tournament. And George Groves has the only real world title in this tournament. And he has a lot of skill, man. He really does. But, I really don't trust him in big fights. He comes up short every time and time again. He really does. Ever since the Carl Froch bullshit, where I think he really got fucked, he was outboxing Carl Froch, and they did that premature stoppage. I think he came into that next fight, feeling himself. Thought he was better than what he was, and Carl Froch had a second look at him and destroyed him, legitimately. Then he felt he was the shit going against Badou Jack. Got destroyed. Really did. Badou Jack put it on his ass. And then he got the chance with Fedor Chuvinov, and he capitalized on it. And we can see if he really has, matured and going to take every opponent serious and stop being overconfident. And this is the ultimate test versus Jamie Cox. And this is another guy he's being overconfident against. He handpicked him first, and they're very close. I think they sparred together. And he thinks he's going to blow him out the water. He's overconfident again. And that's kind of making me think, like, man, I don't know. And this is the fight everybody wants to see. That's hardcore boxing fans, purist boxing fans. We want to see George Groves and Chris Eubanks Jr. This is probably the championship fight for most people in that tournament, in the super middleweight side. And the cruiserweight tournament has been fantastic. And Chris Eubanks Jr. said that he beat the shit out of George Groves in sparring. He said he ran James DeGale out the gym. That's what they saying, man. And George Groves and DeGale don't seem too fazed by it. They just it says what it says. But Caleb Plant also said he beat the shit out of George Groves for 20 out of 20 rounds or some shit like that. He was dead ass serious, and I usually could tell when somebody's telling the truth, and I believe him. But sparring is sparring, and the real fight is totally different. You don't have those big gloves on. You're not trying to make weight, or you're not in between fights, or you might be a little bit overweight, be cutting weight. You don't have the headgear on. It's a totally different ball game. So I don't put a lot of stock into that, not too much. But let's hope that George Groves doesn't fuck this up and beat Jamie Cox. And people thinking that Jamie Cox is a layup for George Groves. Absolutely not. I looked this guy up. He has some amateur pedigree. I looked this guy up. He has some skill. He moving up in weight, and he has some merit behind him in the gym, which I'm gonna do another video on. And I don't think it's a layup for George Groves, just because mentally, you know, he's acting like he's already past Jamie Cox. When he does that, he usually gets his ass whooped. But I hope I get to see this fight, because this is the fight that is probably the championship fight. This Groves versus Chris Eubanks Jr. is gonna be live, baby. But we gone.